Are you feeling sluggish, old, and tired? It could be because your body is dehydrated on a cellular level. Most purified waters are acidic and as a result may be rejected by your body. But it doesn't have to be that way. Real water is different. It is beyond alkalinity. Real water is infused with negative ions for ultra-cellular hydration. You will immediately notice the smooth, clean taste as you start hydrating the minute it hits your mouth. Real water. You will taste and feel this difference.
Well, good morning. This is Gordon Martines speaking to you from the radio room of the Las Vegas Tribune. This is called the radiotribune.com, and the name of my show is called Open Mic. Well, we got some things planned for our agenda today, and I'm just going to blow through these things pretty quick. But as usual, I always like to start out my show by reading the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. Now, understand this Code of Ethics is, and this particular one that I'm reading was adopted in California in 1957. But all the words and principles and foundation of law enforcement are encapsulated in this one-page Code of Ethics. Understand that my belief is that if the law enforcement community ever strays from this code of ethics, then they're going to be in trouble, and you can see it. You can see it happening all the way across the United States. But then again, law enforcement is one of those kind of occupations that if anything can go wrong, it will. It seems like Murphy lives in that particular occupation. Of course, who am I to say? I've only been in it for 39 years. And I wasn't an administrator. I was the real thing, folks. I was a police officer. 36 years of it were spent with the LVMPD, my beloved police department. So, without any further ado, the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others, honest in thought and deed, in both my personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature, or that is confided to me in my official capacity, will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Folks, that pretty much sums it all up. You can have every imaginable police department regulations or policies. This is the foundation of what law enforcement service should be about. Now, sure, you can go ahead and add on any further restrictions or policies or missions. You have mission statements. This is the foundation of all law enforcement service. And anybody who strays, in my opinion, anybody who strays from this oath, this code of ethics, is not worthy to carry the gun and the badge or wear the uniform of a law enforcement officer. Now, I think we're seeing more and more police departments that are becoming more accountable across the nation to acts of wrongdoing. And God only knows the LVMPD, my beloved police department, is also in that category. They've got lots of wrongdoings that they've done, and they need to be held accountable for them. And it goes back 20, 30 years. Now, one of the things I've been noted for is I've got a pretty good memory when it comes to law enforcement work. Believe it or not, I can recall every arrest and every traffic citation and every encounter that I've ever been involved with in police work, and that's over a 39-year law enforcement career. Well, what I have become aware of lately are wrongdoings by the police administration presently and in the past. Now, I'm no stranger to this. This is not my first rodeo. Ever since I become aware of any wrongdoings that my beloved police department has engaged in, and the only way that wrongdoings occur in a police department, and please put this in your toolbox, is that it has to be condoned or tolerated by upper police management. It will not occur unless it is condoned and tolerated by upper police management. Now, this has been going on for decades. This is nothing new. Anything that may or could possibly bring discredit upon a police department, police administrators, it seems like that's their only business, is to cover up and put a spin on these wrongdoings, rather than just address the individual or the group of individuals within a police department that have committed wrongdoings and hold them accountable directly. And anybody associated with it, and especially supervision, if they've got their hand in it, then this is what we're ending up with, and that is a corrupted police department. Now, understand that 90% of the police department are good, honorable people, and they do the best they can under the circumstances. But when they're under the guise of the police administrators that threaten them with their job, then they're apt to go along to get along. Now, I wanted to talk about, just changing channels, I want to talk about an incident that occurred on the 12th of February. It's pretty egregious, folks, and I normally have been aware of all kinds of egregious acts in this community. Like I said, I was a police officer since 1978 up until February of 2014. During that time, I've had various assignments, all as a real police officer, not as an administrator or a supervisor, for which most of you know that they don't really do police work anymore. I was a real police officer. And I've come across several egregious criminal acts that have occurred in our community, and have done my best to assist in finding the perpetrator and solving the crime and bringing forth the truth and holding the people that are accountable accountable. So, that being said, February the 12th, an egregious act occurred, I believe, in the area of Rainbow or Buffalo and Alta. A traffic collision occurred between one driver, Tammy Myers, and three other individuals in a silver or four-door sedan. Now, I would venture to say that any traffic collision within the confines of Clark County especially is noticed by someone. Someone saw what happened, someone watched to see what was going on, and this incident evolved after a minor collision, apparently no injuries. And for those of you that know, I hold LVMPD directly accountable for what transpired later on, and that is that their policy of not responding to non-injury traffic collisions. you're basically left on your own. So, that being said, after the traffic collision, Tammy Myers, along with one of her children that was in the car, was involved in a minor traffic collision. And the other driver, along with a couple of passengers, engaged in a confrontation. Threats were being made. I don't know if it was a verbal confrontation or a physical confrontation, but this incident evolved whereby Tammy Myers felt threatened and was afraid to remain at the scene. Well, since it was a non-injury traffic collision, Metro wasn't going to show up. So she fled the incident or the area and went directly home. Well, the other drivers and the passengers, the three of them, three males, followed Tammy Myers back to her residence and basically fatally shot her in the head, whereby later on she died in the hospital. Now, the description of the suspects is still a little vague, but there is a composite sketch that is being circulated through the local news media, and it shows basically a white male, about 6 feet tall, with spiked, dirty blonde hair, maybe 18 to early 20s. And but the sketch is very important, and you probably have seen it in the newspaper and on the television. But it's still not generating the type of response that I was hoping would be occurring in our community. Like I said, I've been a police officer in this community for over 36 years, and I know that the root core of our community are good, honest people. They're honorable people. They have integrity. Barring the fact that there's 350 to 400 established criminal street gangs that are allowed to exist in our community, is a nice big black eye on the law enforcement service. I can remember when I came in here in 1978, there were only about 8, maybe 10 semi-organized street gangs in existence, and now we've got almost 400. Now, how did that happen, and who is responsible for allowing that to happen? There is no doubt in my mind that the 3 individuals that are in this silver 4-door sedan, that after shooting Tammy Myers in the head in front of her daughter and then also her son, were gang members. There's just no two ways about it. You got 3 individuals together, and that's called a conspiracy, that one of them shoots Tammy Myers and kills her after a minor traffic collision. Folks, that speaks volumes of the type of mentality that, of course, are in the criminal street gang. There isn't any mentality. Fact is, in my opinion, they're all subhuman. They're nothing but human garbage. So, with that being said, I can pretty much guess, just through my experiences, that these were gang members that committed this act. And I can't help but believe that the reason that they committed this kind of act after a minor traffic collision, and by the way, that silver 4-door sedan has left front end damage to it. I can't help but believe that had they known that Metro Police do not respond to any minor traffic collisions without injury, then that, I can't help but believe that's in the back of their mind, that they would go ahead and act the way they did in getting into a confrontation with Tammy Myers at the scene of this minor traffic collision. And then Myers, feeling threatened and afraid to even remain at the scene, leaves the scene to drive home to a point of safety, but she's not even afforded the right to even notify the police that she was now confronted and threatened at the minor traffic collision scene, because she is killed. She is shot and killed by these same individuals who then cowardly fled the area. Now, I am appealing to the moral turpitude and the community as a whole that I have supported and defended for the last 39 years. I've been this way, and I support my community. I cannot believe that no one has called either Crime Stoppers, which I'll give you the number, 385-5555, or someone in authority, or someone that has maybe some of the community's eyes and ears at their disposal, and tell them who is responsible for this egregious act. I cannot believe that the people that live in a community that I call home have not come forward and exposed these animals for what they are, this crud of humanity that committed such an act, and hold them accountable. Now, the faith that I have in our homicide section is rather dubious, as I've listed them in my federal complaint in 2011 as being complicit in covering up the crime of murder, and especially the crime of murder of a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officer, Kevin Daly. And this occurred back in 2007. I just became aware of this just recently during legal depositions of 2013. So I don't have all that much faith in the homicide section of the LVMPD, but I do have faith, and I know for sure that 80%, at least 80% of all criminal prosecutions has to do with the eyes and ears of the public. The police department just does not have the resources and the information that is necessary in order to bring at least maybe 15 to 20% of the suspects to trial. They don't have it. They need your support. They need your help. The community knows who these people are. They know that they saw the original traffic collision either at Rainbow and Alta or Buffalo and Alta. I'm not sure. Somebody saw it. Somebody saw the altercation. Somebody has information at that scene. And then somebody else saw what happened at the residence of Tammy Myers, where she was shot. Now, I hope some of you out there aren't blaming the gun for this thing. The gun doesn't have anything to do with this any more than the automobile has anything to do with the number of people killed on our roadways. It's just instrumentality. That's all it is. But we have a group. We have a group of subhumans that essentially are part of a criminal gang, and there's no doubt in my mind that they are not part of some kind of criminal gang, because that's the mentality. Life means nothing to them. Nothing. And if this community knows the identity of the people that committed this egregious act, and they don't act, and they don't tell somebody, and I'm giving you a number, you can stay totally anonymous, 385